Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're in the world. This is VOA Social Media coming to you now from England and the United States, in the US from North Carolina, and from England from the county of Surrey. And my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot, go introduce himself to you as will normal practice. So today is Sunday, August 13th, and normally we should go on for 2 hours, so we just want let people listen and participate as much and as best as they can. So normally we get a certain numbers that I can voice out, but today we just get for talk general terms in terms of government and traffic and regulations and some of the things then with the Minister of Internal Affairs they try for put into enforcement. So we want for touch on anything in there, for see how likely and how efficiently which is the proposed will work. And of course, we will get for balance that consistent with the existing law as far as individual rights under the Constitution or under the law are concerned. So we get some numbers, the number where we can always let people in follow. If they want to reach you, if they want to call, if they want to send comments. The toll-free number is 1-866-944-7722. 866-944-7722. If you are calling from the UK, it's plus the sign, plus the plus sign. 44 20 80 89 1455. Plus 44 20 80 89 1455. And if you're calling from Australia, the plus sign also 61 29 09 84 337. Plus 61 29 09 84 337. And if you're calling on WhatsApp, then it will be 1 343 997 5828. 1 343 997 5828. Also, you can watch me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If not live, immediately subsequently, but I think live. So that said, I go turn over to my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot. We're going to tell you now, we're going to introduce himself, introduce what we're going to be talking about on the program, and we will go from there. So I hope when I all what they listen to we show, when I not say live show this, where people have the ability for calling and ask questions and make comments. Again, let me remind you now about the rules, because they try to treat everybody fair when you call, particularly when you do a call in. And that is, you're only allotted 3 minutes. At the end of 3 minutes of your conversation, the buzzer will go up for alert you to the fact that your time is up. So you only have 15 seconds to wrap up what you did say. You cannot just continue for go. I know sometimes you don't pick full speed. You want to make your points. Maybe you don't even make your main point yet before the buzzer goes on. What do you mean strongly recommend and encourage people and for do? Before you call in, don't put comprehensively, you made your point or you bullet points them. So when you call, you will get to the substance of what you want to talk about instead of making comments. And then if by the time you come to suggestions, you're already out of time. And so I strongly encourage people for organize them comments or them questions in a way we will make them fall within the three minute time. But if the buzzer goes on, I always tell people and say, you can call back and then you just be in the queue. The only reason why we do that one day, because we don't want to let people in the hole an average of 10 minutes, 12 minutes on the line. A lot of people will not do that. Instead, they will just hang up. So we try to encourage as many people for calling, for express themselves. But by the same token, think of others who also want to express themselves, but they don't want to hold for 10, 12 minutes. Because holding the telephone line for just 12 minutes without anybody talking to you is a long time. So I just want to let people realize that. So please, if you're not finished, you comments where you make when you call in, just don't worry about it. If you get the time, call back. You may be lucky. Maybe there may be no one on the line and you may be first up, or you may have just one or two people in front of you. But I strongly encourage every caller, every contributor, everybody where they call for suggest anything or express an opinion, to please follow and listen to the buzz. When the buzz are come on, please just wrap up your conversation. And if you not be finished, we strongly encourage you for callback. So I'll pass on over to me co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot. We're going to tell you now the rest of what the show is going to be today. Yeah, so Victor, I turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mohammed. Famulem, in a good evening, in a good afternoon, or whatever time or wherever you are today. We know, say, for the past couple of weeks, we don't bring politicians them way we talk to, but today we want to look at issue to do with traffic law enforcement, where one of the area where I'm very passionate about as a chartered highway and traffic engineer. And first of all, before I start this program, let me say at the broadcast from Surrey in the UK, and let's welcome the new. We get two ministers then, where the government appoint for look at this issue. We get retired Brigadier Taluva, when I am the Minister of Internal Affairs, where Internal Affairs now in charge of police, immigration, the correctional service when prisons, and everything for do with security in the nation, and an ex-military man. So he now in first statement we make now things for deal with the work where the directorate, now the police, when a directorate of traffic management and road safety, they do in town for make we road safe. We also get another new minister we just take up in position when a retired Colonel Alaji Ambassador Fande Toure, when are the new Minister of Transport. So today we want to look at some of these things where this no-nonsense minister, when our internal security, we talk about with traffic. And when you talk about traffic, a lot of these things, it come from human behavior. But Law hasten to say, well, waiting the minister they say, even given the timeline, it's nothing new. They make new law. Now law they will already get. But it would be useful and it will be more appropriate when they do the declaration day for reference the law. But now make sure we legal expert now, when I'm your own lead presenter, when La Shilon, we will go into that. But for put this in context, let we play the audio where the new minister, they actually talk about what he intend for do. And after that, I go break them down on the different areas. Then me co-host, me lead host, go look at the legal implications for some of them things, and in terms of human rights, the use of the courts, and also how we administer justice. So if the technical team can play the audio, who they hear the voice of the new Internal Security Minister for Internal Affairs. So we family and I will listen what he say, then we'll follow up with the conversation.
Then they must carry away the Gudrona secrets. They all forget means for signal to other person for saying Gudrona. Let person not kill it. I don't tell them I say this ministry, government establish them for let Sierra Leone and they safe and make them get security. If we sit down Sierra Leone and they die carelessly, then this ministry no need for exist. Okay? So from now to the 31st, nobody no for keep him Motkana the streets, not to garage. Therefore pull and commodity. Okay. Then immediate effect. Now that no more than 31st, so all the balance now na immediate effect. Any motor wey get accident, police for investigate am and they for charge the one way wrong for go court. Because we don't see container go for and kill people them. Now so the case left, nobody no go court, they not charge the driver for go court. But with immediate effect, anybody where you make accident, SLRSA will examine the accident and know that they at fault, then police for charge the person for go court. So anybody where they drive with caution, not drive for kill the copy Sierra Leoneans, and no Sierra Leoneans for die carelessly na any alagi person hand. So now make anybody, if you make accident in this country, then we investigate the case. If you go back now the highway from here to Kabbalah, you not put nothing for indicate say this motor car don't get breakdown park. Other than person go die there, therefore investigate them. And you will get fault if you go court. If the family then carry Natiwa again for go there, I tell all Sierra Leoneans. If the family then carry report say we found Bugay accident and they not investigate the case, they not do the driver nothing, and they not go well. Because I go for them behind that police way responsible in that area there, the traffic police in that area there. Myself go ensure say you self get trouble. Because no Sierra Leone enough for die careless one. All man for take care of in company life. With immediate effect. Any accident car will make accident, they for investigate and they for charge the matter go court. Okay. With immediate effect, Okada then for commoner all the injunction then. Who side they obstruct traffic? They for commodity with immediate effect. Okay? With immediate effect, no keke no for bulldoze. All keke for abide to the law and order na the nation. You know for can make 4 lane. Usa government make 1 lane, you can make 4 lane. You dey confuse the traffic more and more. With immediate effect, nobody not for take passenger. You don't call Wellington there, you go put them down at Kisi. If police catch you, then for charge you. Okay? So this one is the reason what make we call it. Yes.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, I want to follow identify the areas where bike will come out. All junction. Because not to all junction involved in this one house. If you say with immediate effect, all junction would not problem back.
I don't show you. I don't show you the junction.
Identify multi-court.
Yes, sir.
The junction they always there at the CBD.
CBD junction there.
All the CBD junction there.
Kington Bridge, Oduazaku,
Kington Bridge, Kington Bridge, all
the risky parts them. Therefore, commodity.
Well, Kington Bridge not inside the CBD, sir.
Why?
Kington Bridge and CBD right now the turntable and the park there.
Wait to make Kington Bridge and CBD. Well, we don't say from Kington Bridge. Kington Bridge and they block the traffic.
Organize yes, sir.
So all them places they take go na that junction yanda you say police are calling
Mountain Court.
Not a mountain court. Not a dancing court. Upgun. Take go upgun.
Organize it.
We were forced to don't clear the day. But take go up gun na then junction in there not for park there no okada not for park there yes sir.
On this halfway another interesting aspect this extra charge most of the put that front seat
get different price
from the back seat. It's like going to Waterloo, the charge is 8 something. But when you sit on front seat, that 10 you need to pay. You not go there, you not pay them, you know it's necessary.
Well, then in our Ministry of Transport, we own a safety we they look at. We they look at safety. Ministry of Transport now then they look at that one.
We don't meet with the drivers, you know, this class price is so that we fair increment cancel. We meet the drivers, you know.
Of course, my family, this is the minister invoice from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, retired Brigadier General Taluva, with the one drivers them and the keke riders them and bike riders them for being law abiding and areas that were not for them for commodity with immediate effect. Other side them we give them up to the 1st of September then for commodity. And me where they talk to a minute another person, but a humble servant and that Cyril was media investigative journalist right from the Ministry of Internal Affairs conference hall.
Well, family them in another area waiting the minister say, and just for summarize for I think say some of the people the way they overseas, they not understand some of them term they will be within the use as alone. So I go get for clarify then thing and day before I hand over to my colleague. We go look at because when you talk about traffic law enforcement, when you talk about traffic law enforcement, it get a lot for do with the law, we include the police, the court system, and different other people there. So number one, it starts with, it say, the first way it talk about parking. Parking, and what did they talk about? Say, well, it talk say, where you walk down a road, you get for give an indication. It won't pull a lot of parking things them, vehicle the way park indiscriminately, and vehicle the way they abandon. We go talk about that. Then they under the law. But how you implement them is a different thing. It also talk about accident investigation. Again, we lawyer now go rub much about them. But accident investigation not to way for be one of. Because every year we they produce accident statistics. We know the cause of the accident. What we know they do now for look at the accident then they waiting at the cause and see we'll put policies together. We'll talk more about that. Then you talk about family where they report accidents. Say if them bang you person, police not take charge, then they go left out for we lawyer. Then you talk about the Okada them. Okada, for any way overseas we don't know. Okada and then commercial motorbike. Because the name Okada come up from Nigeria. You know, say now one of the most convenient means of transport now. Now the transport the way they go the last mile. So mostly then can team up and then junction them for wait for people them. And waiting they happen, the junction them, then say according to the minister, then they block them junction the way they cause traffic. So not so for just the block junction, we have to look at how they control and manage traffic. Then you be hearing some of the people and they ask about the CBD. What do you mean by CBD? The Central Business District. And for me, working as the definition of the CBD, we will discuss dandy. Right? Then finally, it talk about then keke na three-wheeler, where in Kenya they call them tuk-tuk. You know, we get in Asia and then three-wheel them, now like motorcycle on the cage. Then say bulldoze. Bulldoze, what in bulldoze mean? Now where would they see a lot of them keke and they because of their size? If not 2-lane road, then go make 3-lane. Or some they claim on top of pavement. Then they all na traffic enforcement where they under the police and so other thing there. So this now boku of the thing that we talk about. Then finally talk about halfway. What do I mean by halfway? The way they set the agency were responsible for set fares, Now, the Ministry of Transport, on the advice of the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority. So the way then they set fares then by routes. So halfway mostly the place where they complain, now like from Waterloo to Bombay. But you know, say that routes there, you get some people, they not to all man, they come straight to Bombay. Halfway now where the driver announce say, Bombay, don't something where he reach Calbaton, he say, I know they go before, I know they go again. He put all man down. That is an offense under with traffic law. So that left and day, I don't explain some of them here, but as time goes on, we're going to deal with that issue here. Let hand over to my own colleague. We're going to talk about the law, the jurisdiction, and all of them here. We're going to deal with accident investigation, the police, and traffic law, how you deal with them, whether it's civil offense or criminal offense. Over to you, Mr. Shillot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. Just respectfully make a comment. I see the Internal Affairs Minister in military uniform. To start with, this is just an observation. Well, since this is a civilian government, I will strongly encourage the minister, and I think he will do so, for with the CM in civilian clothing, not military, because we cannot be talking about we don't want military government, whether by coup or not. Then we get constant reminder of people in military affairs in attire. I think in most countries, in almost every country I know where democracy is practiced, whether you were a naval officer, a military officer, Air Force officer, when they appoint you to a civilian position, you know they make general appearance with your uniform, with your professional uniform. You dress like a civilian for keep we all grounded on the fact that.
Mr. Shillot, I think in fairness to the minister, I think that the only picture that they will get recently,
No,
I don't
that's
think
why
say
I'm-
be
that's
wearing military.
No, that's why
I
I'm
don't think say be
conditioning.
wearing military uniform. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, just in case.
We let Kosiam in CVs.
Yeah, all right. That's one. Two, the observation, and me co-host tell me say, some of the things that with the minister they talk about now, in terms of compliance of now matter of law we already are on the books. I'm not sure comprehensively every way they say are on the books, but let's assume they are. Then, first of all, I just want to remind the minister, in a civilian rule, in a constitutional rule, the phrase immediate effect might not be quite constitutional in the sense that everything, every warning, every enforcement, every new implementation of rules should be given a time limit. You cannot rule civilians then by immediate effect. I think it will have to be certain deadline. Set a deadline, say effective such and such a date, because the Constitution called for reasonable notice. So people forget reasonable notice, because the immediate effect, if the minister said that today, 80% of the population not going to even know say that. Or, today, not tomorrow, not next week. So immediate effect will put a substantial number of people in violation of the law. So I would strongly encourage the minister, and I think constitutionally, if that is challenged, if anybody is arrested under the minister in dictates, when I go to court, any lawyer won't know anything about constitution and have to argue your case, your client will not be found guilty. Immediate effect is vague. You get to give the public reasonable time and reasonable notice. So I would strongly encourage the minister also for rearrange what they try to do and take the immediate effect aspect of it and put a reasonable time basis on whatever I want people to comply with. I think that will serve everybody well. And also, for clarity, we get a situation where this is the Minister of Internal Affairs for the entire country. And I think part of his responsibility now for enforce laws passed by Parliament. But now we get what you could call conflict of laws, whereby, by the way they say, a lot of the conditions here where they try to implement, now how it affect the city of Freetown. Nothing said about the rest of the country. So I know say you get the best of intentions, but my argument now simply is implementation must be within the law, not outside the law. So number one, are these going to be violations of city ordinance? This is the reason why I always argue about this local government act. Lawyers then back home for challenge them because part, if not all of it, is unconstitutional. Because local government for be run by local governments, city ordinance for be passed by city council. But now when you get the local government act, whether usurp or take over or override the city authority, which I think is grossly illegal, and not only illegal, is grossly illegal. I don't know why they're not challenging the local government act, part of it or all of it, because as I keep reminding people, the mayor and the council were elected by the people. Parliament cannot pass laws for override the rights of the people and give authority to one single minister appointed by the president and executive who has nothing to do with local government for override decisions by the city. This is why we have the courts. As unreliable as we are made to think about the courts, now the only avenue that we therefore educate the judges then too about constitution and the difference between ordinances and acts of parliament, and they will clearly differentiate the responsibilities between the city council and the local government. And I think it will be a great day in Sierra Leone when we take a minister out and keep a minister out of the activities of the city council, because it's just a wrong way. We're not going to come up with good results at all. Now, I agree with the minister, and if I not said that earlier, I want to say that now. I've not say you get honorable intention, you get the best of intention, and you want to see people do right. And everything we just mentioned need to be done for keep society orderly. I believe in order because that's the only way a civilized society is run. But on the other hand, we get laws. And a constitution is made purposely to soften or guard against the excesses of government. That's the main reason for a constitution in a country. Not to for regulate people in activities, now for protect people in life and property. That's what constitution is about. Let government not get out of hand. So in this respect, what we need to do, as well-intentioned as the minister is in terms of implementation, we have to do everything within the bounds of the law. And it's not going to be as easy because this is not how we normally operate. So number one, when he talk about breakdown vehicles, I agree, they should be dealt with, because sometimes even the new roads, then where you get 4 lanes, 2 going, 2 coming, you already begin to see breakdown vehicles, then they just did it permanently. Well, there are ways we just can't say because we're in a government, you just go, you take the vehicle out. You forget laws in place for say when your vehicle break down. If you not move and they within 24 hours, the police go get the authority for come and tow them, move them. And when then go put on a certain place. That certain place they wouldn't take your vehicle go, because there are so many laws that have to be passed. So sometimes we would sit in here. So now the police take that vehicle there. In fact, now one of the best things would be for encourage people for start getting salvage yards. Salvage now say go put broke down motoka, ambog motoka the way dog get accidents, then in there. Now salvage yard. Most of them salvage
Yeah.
yard there.
Just to comment on that before you go, we already have that in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
We have that in Sierra Leone because the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority then get a division where they get tow trucks in, where they under the law now they get responsibility for remove obstruction on the highway. At
There
times
you
they
go.
can put notices. So the law is there. The breakdown
So
vehicles, the law is there.
So enforcement
problem
is the
is-
issue.
Enforcement is the issue. They do enforcement, but they do enforcement, but more has to be done. Because as you say, there's a lot they need to do, but the law is there. They can do that.
Oh,
For remove
well, let me
breakdown vehicle, they can do that.
Well, I'm glad you say the law is there. Sierra Leone, there is something strange about us. A lot of things we do, let's say in housing, for example, just as an illustration, there are laws regulating housing, how many feet from the main road you for build house, how we sign up for bill, but we not they enforce the regulations then they because again, the white people have left a lot of good laws in place. So I'm not surprised that we get them here. So now what do we young government get for do? Now for see if the ministry will get in, we call them wincher, but now we call them tow trucks. I don't know how they are called in England. But the tow
Yeah.
if not the ministry want to operate tow trucks,
It's the same
Then
name,
it has-
tow trucks. We call them tow trucks.
okay. So if now they want to operate tow trucks, then for do feasibility studies, take into account the rate of accidents, the rate of parked vehicles on the road, the rate of breakdown vehicles on the road, and see if they need more tow trucks and more employees or more drivers way for enforcement here. So when there is violation, and then what the police does, when you left your vehicle, the police again under the constitution, there is a thing about reasonable notice. You cannot deprive people of their property, which you call without due process. Okay, so what in due process mean? Now, simply forgive people them adequate notice. So if your motor car broke down, the police, like we are now, in North Carolina, the police then get a bright orange-looking thing when in the car and puts na the front and the back of the motor car. Only the police to put on then the paste on the motor car for so you can see as far back as you can see. For say, police don't come put a sign on this motor car say if will be moved. After they put
Well,
that
in
sign,
Sierra Leone, we at the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority, they do that. Then get that. We have that
Okay.
system.
well, this is the coordination and get forget, but this them say them for do a due process thing. So now this road safety authority then for go and put that sticker there, giving you whatever time limit. Then law say for pull and commodity. When you not pull your motor car within that time limit, they went and put the thing. Then the government get the right for move the motor car, go na a salvage yard. When they take and go na salvage yard, there should be a fee. What they toll every day, where you know where that motor car they in the salvage yard. So then for reasonable fee. So every day they cost money. So when you get ready for go pull your motor car at the salvage yard, it might cost you 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And sometimes you could just decide, say, you don't want them. You don't want the vehicle again. Then the government at the end of the year can turn around and auction them vehicles in there. Because the person will get them, they'll decide, say, you don't want them again. But you just cannot say because we're in a government where somebody in motor car broke down, you just go no more, you winch and commodity. That may be unconstitutional because it might be in violation of due process that you not give the person adequate time. It could be a stranger in town, something that somebody will come on McKinney, Bo, somewhere you're not familiar with the city ordinances, a motor car broke down. So it just need time for be able to do what has to be done. So Migo strongly suggests that the minister give some consideration to that. I don't think immediate effect will be constitutional or will be lawful. I don't think so because first of all,
before you go further, before you go further, all these processes we explain we get the Nasalon. Yeah, I can vouch for that as a traffic law expert. But one of the things where the minister mentioned, which I think will explain to people them, now in terms of where he talk about accidents where they happen if your vehicle break down. Yeah,
I'm getting to that.
And
okay.
Yeah, okay. When you get to that, okay, get to that. Let me get to that because
Now-
I just want to clarify the law on that because we already get a law. You could comment whether it's reasonable or not, but we have
Okay,
a
go
law
ahead.
which say every vehicle forget that safety triangle. You understand? So if your vehicle break down, you get forget two safety triangle where at a distance from the back and the front, you get for put your safety triangle. Now that is they talk about. Say if you not get them and somebody can hit your car, then but the other one way now easy to way for explain. Now then the way they broke down at the highway. In most country, we get a luminous strip way for putting at the back. So that if vehicle they can net, then go see down there. So it comes to enforcement and public education. Now they cause that. So that explains say those things are there, but we need a lot of public education and collaboration. But we'll go to that. So that let you like continue and go that. And then you go talk about this court system where they talk about. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, yeah, in that respect, say the triangle sign breaking down on the highway, particularly in the night, yes, it's hazardous. So we need, but it will seem to me that should come under the general regulation of maybe requiring people to get that in the trunk. If you know, say, particularly people who they operate passenger vehicles, them, that when you get a breakdown and you not get the ability to move your vehicle right away, because I think they should even make it illegal for government mechanics to come begin fix your vehicle on the road. Except like if a battery die, then thing and we don't need repairs. Not just a matter of replacement in a short period of time. Yeah, because I agree with the minister. The minister they say people them not for cause unnecessary death. So I agree with him. I know I agree with him in terms of the word, and I'm sure I go regret to say that, say the a lucky person. And I think if you are involved in an accident, even if you're reckless, you're not a lucky person. So you use the word alaki. I think say that is not a nice word from a minister. I think we for treat ourselves a little civilly than that. But I agree. In fact, when you talk about the sign for sure say the vehicle is broken down. Now we need forget most times the sign is from the back, mostly, particularly since the traffic they go in one direction. The sign should be required to be at the back of the broken down vehicle for give people indication. And the one where they illuminate the net, daytime you go see them. But in the net, if without that thing they where they highlight some kind of thing from a distance with the light they reflect on, it can cause accident. That's true. If you violate that, then you will be responsible. Let me just move to the thing about going to court and getting the police involved. These are all good ideas. The police get involved. I think every accident, large or small, the police should be involved. I don't get no problem with that. But waiting we for try for avoid, let we know waiting at the police then duty because the minister go further and say and be taken to court. Now that's a fine line because the investigation for be strictly not with in criminal intent purpose in the sense that for prosecute people in criminally. I don't think that the purpose down there for the investigation. The investigation should be for the purpose of establishing liability. Who is at fault? You know, that's why we have insurance. Now we SSF deliberately they'll kill the insurance liability practices. Once upon a time when there were various insurance companies, I'm sure they get some, but a certain government decides to monopolize the insurance industry because of the fact that I think the head now be insurance man. So when you kill the industry, When you kill the industry, this is what happens. Otherwise, when the police do the investigation, then clearly establish liability. The person at fault, the other person, get the right for reports to an insurance company and say, I had an accident with an insured. The police investigate them. The police say they at fault. So I delay me claim. But now what we've done because of shortcut in the system, we don't undermine. This is all part of safety. Because if we know say your insurance go, the insurance company then go decide when they pay liability for you, when they fix somebody else in car and pay a medical bill and give them some money for injuries, whether your insurance will go up or not. But when we say undermine that industry there, instead of we make the industry grow, so we employ more people, we short-sightedly decide for just monopolize the insurance industry because of political power. So me suggest say let the minister not to so much enough for in emphasis not for before take the matter to court. Already the system is overly burdened by large amount of cases. I don't think Sierra Leone generates that many cases that they should be burdened by cases, but they are. And the reason is they don't get good administrative technique for disposal of cases, particularly traffic cases. Traffic cases should not call for people going to jail. Traffic cases should not call for people being detained, except that when there is death. But otherwise, traffic cases should call for the police come, they take a look, they give you a citation. If they have to, let the insurance companies then and duke it out. But if we want to take every accident case to court, in addition to the already burden system, I think say this is how the system can break down, because we're not able to handle them because we not get the technique. Now are we willing to learn the technique of how to dispose of cases them quickly and fast? I have said it over and over. I, Mohammed Shilon, I've met with chief justices, I've met with Sierra Leone, I've met with directors of the law school, I've met with former attorneys general, all trying to tell them, hey, look, there are ways that you can dispose of your cases them. And instead of taking somebody, locking him up at Pademba Road Prison for traffic offense, you can put him back and just fine him, court cost and court fine. So the system benefits from him instead of him going to be locked up and you have to feed him and house him and everything unnecessarily. But we are just so set in the old ways that we're not willing to look at outside ideas. That's one. The other problem what we get in Sierra Leone, like I say, we get people of like minds for set policy. In other words, for example, in Sierra Leone, if they want to set up a committee on the law, 90% will be people who go to law school in Sierra Leone. So they don't know any other system past Sierra Leone. So this is where the problem starts. We know diversity of ideas for the common good is very important. What we know they come up with. So when you get a bunch of people of like minds, they're not going to come up with anything new because they don't get anything for compare to. You know, they not use, nor are they aware, nor have they taken the time to study more efficient and effective system around the world. So these are some of the things then we need to talk about. Also, this thing about bulldozing, where I think synonymously now the four laning, where the minister they talk about, where you get one lane, where you will get like four Okada, they try to turn them into 4 lanes and a 1 lane. Down there in a traffic obstruction. That's a good idea. It should be abolished. It should be prohibited. But the police has to be on the alert. That's the criminal side of trafficking. Because you get to forget the police go for lay watch and see that violation there. But how is the police going to effectively carry out the enforcement when policemen and they on foot We're not even getting bike. We don't for chase motor car with siren. Maybe we need for supply the police then with more bikes, not necessarily cars. And the bikes can be equipped with sirens. Then can quickly chase you down, get you for stop, give you a citation for sure say you don't bulldoze, you don't violate the city ordinance, and you for stop. And because it will not stop unless people begin to say money to come out of their pocket. They are being stopped. They are being had. That's one instance where you could be given a citation to go to court, like bulldozing, the four laning. I can see that. Then they get forgive you because you get away, forget money out of the pocket of the Okada or Puda or Keke person. So I can agree with the one and the minister. So intention now enforcement and the techniques of enforcing internet, I see the challenge. Then the thing about this, I don't remember the name. I didn't call them, but where you say you go, you pick the passenger for go a certain distance, then you drop them before.
Halfway.
Okay, so this halfway issue. Well, to me, then can criminalize that on the part of the drivers. Then just simply say obtaining money by false pretense because it's criminal. It's no different from where you sell me something, you represent something, or as being something else. When I buy them, that's something else, not to what you represent to me. So if I pay you money for say, or if I bought your vehicle for say I go Congo Cross, you cannot reach Brookfields and just drop me. And then want me for, even if you don't want me for pay the fare, I think it's unfair. So they can craft a law what for prohibit that. These are simple things then, where for orderliness in the society.
Just to clarify that for you, it's already in the Road Traffic Act 2007. Say because the Ministry of, just for explain Fambule how it happens, the Ministry of Transport, now they set fares, and the fares are based on routes. So it is in the law that vehicles them, especially the part of Freetown where this they operate most of the time, now the Waterloo axis. Because say what the Poda the way they come on Waterloo, then for end up now Bombay Street Market. So the problem with that particular law is that the law say when somebody, if you don't announce in a Bombay, you go at the start of the destination, the passenger don't board them for go Bombay. They reach Kalbatong, you say I know they go again. It's against the law. Then also, it is also illegal because the minister talks on T again. Somebody mentioned them, where they say, if you sit down front seat, you pay extra 2,000. It is also an offense for a Poda driver or apprentice charge you more than the stipulated fare. So we get the law then. But the problem is enforcement. How do you enforce it? That is where the problem lies. So the laws are there. And I think, as you say, what should have been helpful is for when this minister was making this, what he intended to do, this pronouncement, it would have been helpful if he was there with probably his permanent secretary or somebody from the Sierra Leone Police Traffic Department, we go reference the particular areas of the law which he wants to enforce that is not being enforced. But all what he's saying, there's nothing there he's saying which is not in the law in Sierra Leone. The only problem we have, which we'll go back to, now the institutional responsibilities, because there are so many overlaps. Because when it comes to traffic and law enforcement, we get three agencies there. We get Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority, where then they enforce the law through the traffic wardens or traffic cops. We get the Sierra Leone Traffic Police, where they enforce a similar law. Then we get the Sierra Leone the Metropolitan Police, which is under the City Council, where mostly their own responsibility now for deal with issues, for deal with parking, and also things that's to street trading, because then obstruction. So these are some of the issues. And the other thing where the minister talk what I bring to people and family and notice. Now where he say motorcar them, people enough for the park the motorcar na streets. But let me make this clear. Before I go, I think say it always good law interact. If you agree that everything is embedded in our constitution, why are you going back forth with your presentation? If the constitution says it's bad, it is bad, and as such should be dealt with accordingly. Remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Let me respond to this particular person. It's not every law in Sierra Leone. The constitution is the primary law. What we are talking about here is traffic law, which is a secondary law to the constitution. And now traffic law they talk about, not to constitution. The constitution only deal with the rights of individual, which is means right to free trial, access to justice, or those things. So when people in the comment, we are talking about traffic laws here, not constitution. But the constitution now protects the individual. So again, when it comes to parking, now they the municipality can inside in every country where I don't go. Now parking, you get areas them where you get prohibitive parking, you get forget controlled parking zone, especially in the central business district. And for the listeners then, let me explain to people them waiting at this central business district. I know saying something where the minister and some people let me get some kind of who side in at the central business district and who side not in at the central business district. Based on my knowledge of traffic management and planning, right? Central business district is start from St. John. Let I give the boundaries. So when you take out from St. John, you go up Campbell Street, then Pademba Road, can right down to Shaka Stevens Street, up to Frobe Road, Kisti Road, up Gunton Table, then at the northern boundary. The southern boundary, if you take her now from St. John, Sanders Street, Kandong Shaka Stevens Street, and join. So all the streets that were there in between. Now Pademba Road and Shaka Stevens Street, all there under the central business district. But if the minister they talk say critical junction, like Kinton Bridge, like Duazak, then are major junctions the way you can forget traffic management. So for ease of to actually make sure say enforcement day, you can forget a collaboration between the City Council, Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority, and police, and also draw a Freetown, identify the areas the winner central business district where you get prohibited parking, and also Usai, Okada, and Keke they not there for run. So we are very lazy in we approach. So when we apply the law, we get forget people them forgive to the public. So let me clarify that for people the way they listen to me. So over to you, sir. If there's any issue you want to raise.
Okay.
Because we have on this institutional and coordination.
Okay. Also, I see one of we regular audience member, and then we make a comment say it is impractical, and I think I've forgotten the word we use for expect efficient, fallacious, and impracticable to expect a largely illiterate population like ours in Sierra Leone to adopt and practice a system of developed country. Well, let me say, number one, developed countries didn't get developed just by happenstance, we can say. They get developed by trying for enforced implementation at a much earlier stage and lower stage. You don't wait until things get out of control. That's why it looks so impracticable. Number two, let's don't forget, laws were in place way back before independence, where we didn't have all this kind of traffic problem, and illiteracy was 10 times higher than what we have now. And laws were being enforced and people were in full compliance. What has happened is the fact that those in charge have chosen not to enforce the laws. Enforcement is the key. So when you don't enforce the law, well, people will take matters into their hands. They will do things where they know say the law prohibits, but because they find it easy for doing. So enforcement is the key, but it's not impracticable. Nor is it fallacious. There is no fallacy in that. There are African countries like Rwanda, like Malawi. There are many African countries that are operational just like any Western nation. When you go to, like even Ivory Coast, that is right next to not far from us, you go there, you see order. You see, I mean, very efficient and effective traffic laws. It's hard to believe in Ivory Coast now, an African country. It's just, things are just as orderly. The traffic laws are just well obeyed by the very Africans of whom we are part of. So it is not fallacious, it's not impracticable. There are African countries that are doing very, 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 very well in terms of traffic enforcement. I think so. So we should not give up the belief that, I mean, what's so different from us, with us from other countries? Just because we're Africans means we cannot be law abiding. I mean, we cannot be regulated. We cannot conduct ourselves in a civilized manner. I think we're just as capable. But as human beings, like everybody else in the world, everywhere, even in America, if you don't enforce the law, people will break it. That's just the way it is. People speed on the highways, even when there are speeds in the United States saying posted speed limit. People speed excessively. But how does the government handle it? They have patrol officers on the highway. We pull the people occasionally, and then when you are ticketed, you know sometimes it will cost you $200-300 for that one and stop the way the officer stop you. Enforcement is the key, but compliance cannot work without the necessary enforcement. Then make they say we cannot even talk about traffic if we're not going to equip with police or the agency in charge with at least bikes equipped with sirens for stop or pull drivers them off. But so let's don't not fool ourselves for one moment for say we cannot be as compliant as developed nation. We can, because the African countries we can illustrate and demonstrate that efficiency day where they take place now in a different country, now in Africa, you know. You'll be amazed what's going on. I encourage some of my brothers them, if they have access to YouTube, go on YouTube, just try say anything about Ivory Coast or Malawi or Rwanda or some other African countries then that are doing so well. Sometimes people go to these countries, they're not to believe. People go to these countries and say, am I really in Africa? This is like any other European country. This is like any other developed country, you know, in Africa. So I think, say, like places like Botswana. You go to Botswana, things are very much complied with. So I don't think it's fallacious. I think it's just a matter of enforcement, we can. So I think the minister is on the right track, but I just caution him in terms of where they talk with immediate effect. Immediate effect might not be adequate enough for satisfy the requirements of the law, because we're not being ruled by decrees. We're being ruled by acts and ordinances in this respect? What about the situation where the traffic police are engaged in harassment? Of course, again, if traffic police are engaged in harassment, we have to guard against that. What you do, you get for investigate them, or whether they by harassment encourage the citizens, then for silently video or record them, their actions, and they should be punished. Even if it means suspension from your job, because we all duty, all the citizens them. Traffic police are not being given uniform and badge for harass people and for try to make the country good for we all. So if they want to turn that into harassing drivers should be smart enough, particularly with them having people like Mr. Victor Mengot, for finding a way how they for deal with fightback against the police, use the media, use the journalists them for expose some of the traffic police them, show videos, show audios. There are many ways. So that would be my answer. We have a call, so let me answer that caller, and then we'll go forward. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you call from?
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Shilon. This is Abdul Adika from Maryland.
All right, Abdul, welcome.
Yeah. I just want to make a submission on this intriguing topic they deal with this afternoon. I just want correct because somebody the text say military man. No, not a military. He is a retired now. Salova is a retired military man. He is not an active military man. So I think maybe not reason that question. Then, with regard to the minister ultimatum we don't give so say with immediate effect. I don't think say one is not feasible, you're not able to achieve that. And I don't think say enforceable, even with the traffic, with the keke or Okada then. Let's give you a simple example. Because I'm the free last year, I go free again early this year. Now normally the traffic now normally with keke and Okada, it is quite impossible for them for control them. Say they all go take one lane. It is quite impossible. Normally round that small sided in peak hours. It will take you some 20 to 30 minutes from that Wilkinson Road Junction. For let you go now the Lumley Market. The amount of Okada where they ply that route day, especially them peak hours and day. Now so they all the jam back. So I'm not able to see. I'm not able to fathom how you're able to enforce that thing. And you get police and the police they always there at that point. You get Boko police and the train at the beach road police they always they. So I don't see how you're able to enforce that. Then secondly, I want just talk about the halfway way the Puda then the from time memorial we don't say that's what the Puda then they do. And I think we're not able to enforce it again. Now this it is like new broom sweep clean. You're not able to enforce that. The problem with the government get right now, the government they'll fail woefully in the aspect of providing public transportation for people. Sierra Leone, we get 70% of the population with poor and extreme poor. When you get that number of population, even the advanced world, it provides public transportation, but there is no single city service bus when government provides. These 5 years, and government don't tout this. The recently sacked transportation minister, Cabinet Kalon, and in deputy when he gets the study still. Then tout about this integrated urban mobility World Bank project for the last one from the one where they take power. Say to this return where they still don't know. Up till now, no single bus. They say na 200 bus. Few months back they say okay, they don't cut down to 100 no single city bus no day where they fly the street. With that kind of population, especially in our urban areas, when are not able to provide city service for people, it is really apprehending. You go now then as Victor. Are they sorry for we compatriots them the way they suffer. You go come if you dey God rich, you dey take keke or Okada for can Lumley. So they go pay them 4,000. You go take them from there for Kana Congo Coast, you go pay 4,000. From Congo Coast, you go pay for Kana you will bill in 4,000. So imagine somebody they work 600,000 or 700, 800,000 within in picking them and independent we get. How much did they spend on public transport? So government don't fail woefully in providing public transportation for people. So I just say I will make this contribution and stop so far. Because when I both free so I see how people in the suffer. So it's just me a bogus talk when the minister they talk. I thank you all.
All right, Mr. Mengo, can I say what I have to say before you take over since you're the expert?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Now, someone just sent in a comment saying, with traffic light, we can be able to regulate the traffic. That's for sure. Traffic lights will really help for regulate the traffic. But the problem what we'll get is we have to get a regular supply of electricity in order to adequately get traffic lights then at some major areas. And because there are areas where turntable serves the purpose, and there are areas where traffic lights are really needed. So we need for understand that. So now let me see what this caller is saying. Caller, it's not just this government that have not provided public transport. I don't think the caller said this government. Let's be careful how we listen to certain things. You cannot make your point without. No. The previous caller did not blame this government. He said every government. You go back and watch the video because these things are recorded. He may have emphasized this government, but I don't think the BO government is any more guilty than the Kuruma government and these were services that were available. You know, public transportation was available and very cheap. So instead of we improve the quality of service, we terminate the quality of service. There was bus service all over Freetown. There was bus service even in Bo. I don't even know how Bo is handling theirs right now. But when I was in school in Bo, Sierra Leone Road Transport had provided buses that were going all over the city, taking people from point A to point B to point C to point Z, you know. So in most countries by now, since independence, we should not even be talking about buses alone. We should by now have had, like in a place in the metropolitan area like Freetown, we should get the tube, a subway, train, city train. And the irony of the city train issue, we had city train in my grandfather's days. There was a subway in America. We call it subway. In England, I think they call it the tube. But by a train, there was a train system that served the city in Freetown. In the early 1900s, till I think maybe it was in the 40s that it ended or so. But that's why from St. John, you had the train that went by Old Railway Line in Brookfields, all the way to Tengbe Fakai, that is now Tengbe Town, all the way to Wilberforce. Now, train people they take for Gode, where in modern days they will refer to as subway. Instead of we improve that for making it more efficient and faster, we eliminate them. This is what we're good at. So we eliminate that subway or train system there for the city. We will for extend the subway for go east. We're not doing them. The subway but they only serve the western part of Freetown all the way to Wilberforce. Okay? And now, then subsequent governments then come, they eliminate the city transportation system completely. Every civilized country, then they provide public transit or public transportation and these are very highly subsidized. So they're very cheap in every country we know, in America, in every city, in England, in every city. Bus services are cheap in relation to private transportation. So when we showed some of the regulation where the government they set fare for people in private vehicle, even that of itself may be illegal. Because if me buy my vehicle, you cannot set the fare for how much I go charge for take people. Because at the market for decide would that if I charge too much or not. Now the government for buy their own buses for the public and then set fares. The government get the right for do that. And then the government by now should be thinking about more public transit system like subways. Subways where they go as far or a transit system like a train where they go all the way to Kisii and beyond, or maybe Waterloo and back. Like I say, in the old days in Sierra Leone, we get a subway, we get a tube where the left Freetown go all the way to Wilberforce and come back. Now, so me and great grandpa them, that's how they travel. I saw them they take go and Wilberforce. So we're going backwards. You see, this is the sad part about Sierra Leone. We're not to move forward, we're not to improve. Everything a reverse way with the drum. But so this thing about the bus fare, I have a problem with government setting fare for people in private vehicle. I really get serious problem with that because I don't think government will regulate that. Government will regulate their own and transportation is the way then they produce, for the public, and then for subsidize them. So if it cost the government, let's say 50 cents, or I would say 50 leon, or no, 5 leon per person. Government therefore be willing for subsidize that fare day, like 50% or more, so people don't go pay less. And then it go lead to, like the person said just now, it will lead to less congestion na the road, because more people would then go board public transportation, then they will begin go into Poda and all of that. Let me see, my dear friend also. Okay, but can you read the comment? Can you read Mr. Mengo, can you read the comment of the illustrious Mr. Tylo?
I can read it because it says our Africanness is not what I'm referring to here. I'm talking about profound ignorance of those systems that have evolved after years in those developed countries you desire us to emulate right now. We have to learn to crawl before we can walk. It's necessary to develop in gradual, realistic stage.
Well, the trouble is we've been crawling for too long. Just let's use the human analogy. You have a child who is 10 years old and is still crawling, and you're telling him to not to walk when it's way past.
Okay, now I think we get about 40 minutes more.
Okay.
On this program. So we don't analyze the problem. We don't show some of the challenges. And one of we call at them, which is Abdul, Mr. Abdul, I tell you thank you very much, mentioned some projects we start. And one of the things from all within the minister talk about, we can see say there is a lot of institutional support that is needed, because some of the things that we talk about, they're outside in jurisdiction. But then we get a new government now. And for now go forward in this program, we are going to give Fambulen the good news about what we are doing. I mean, we as Sierra Leoneans, to solve this public transport program. Let us listen to something where the new chief minister say how to work together. Then based on that, I go inform people about what is being done, because this program is being addressed under the one of we call it, they mentioned the Sierra Leone Integrated Resilient Urban Mobility Project, for which I was part of it, and I'm still part of it. So let's give Sierra Leoneans some of the challenges and some of the things that we're doing. Well, let's listen first to our Chief Minister.
In terms of my message to Salone people, now I vote for President Bill because of his manifesto and because of his commitment we get. Not to all man vote for President Bill, but today President Bill now in the help lead the country for the next 5 years. Electing our opposition, electing our media, electing our citizens, we just sit down at us. The importance of where we know say the country can go on before. Not of President Bill no more, not of this government no more. But it requires you within the house, it requires opposition, it requires somebody when an ordinary citizen, CSO, because where the country make and we achieve we medium-term goal of 2035 will be and a country with the middle income that by 2028 not the import rest and yabas will not go import anything and we food secure without it happening. Now we all go benefit. Now we all life go rise, and now we all go continue to enjoy democracy and justice and peace. So me message to me Fambulem now that this time may we come together as a people. No matter what I even vote for, no matter what you believe, you don't need to elect you, but you need to elect yourself and you begin the future. Now that for make you not go pay bribe. Now that for make you not go if you're not a teacher, you not take money in people they hand even though not free. Now that for make if you're not a healthcare person, you attend to people then we can. Now that for make you not for go misuse public facilities. You not thief light. You pay you ETSA bill. If you're in a private sector, you pay you tax. If you're not a government worker, you show up and you do what you do. When that happens, this country I go before, and I'm really, really glad and I want to tell President Bill thank you for the amazing team we done put together for help we as a country for delivering our goals.
What you go say to now we didn't do our point?
So we wouldn't do our points, then track how I don't begin going. We have to deliver. We will deliver. We have no excuses, as President Bill say, and when I pardon me, but I will be cancelled now for asking a question then for make sure they will deliver.
Okay, Mr. Sheila, you want comment before I can take we listeners them to this scale of see how I will restrict my comments to transport.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's calling for collaboration, coordination, and collective effort for put Salone before. So I'll restrict my comments to transport based on my own involvement in the past 7 years in Sierra Leone. And for talk about waiting will they do the challenges them and what they face.
All right. What you make for say with respect to what the minister just say, these are all great idea. Talk is cheap. They are the ones responsible. Talking to the Salone people and the ordinary people. The ordinary people, again, we'll go back to the same issue where we talk about compliance and enforcement. Enforcement particularly. If you enforce the law, people are more likely to comply. But the ones at the top are the ones who are not enforcing the law, who are themselves breaking the law, shortcutting the system. This is, you see, you have to think about cause and effect now. When some minister go see, or a high government official go see something advantageous to them, I can give a good example. Many years ago, we get the Honorable Mayor of Freetown, Betts. In America, you see how then the what people in the park in a illegal place, who said and say parking is prohibited. He introduced a system whereby then they clip your tire or your front wheel, so you're not going to be able to drive the motor car from Usai Day. And way back, and this is true story, 2 ministers were the early ones who get caught up in the system. And so the ministers, them, instead of them comply, they felt insulted that their car was being held hostage and they had to pay a fine before they get the car. So they make sure they go to the mayor himself and go talk to him for tell and say, we want to make them release the motor car, the government official motor car. The mayor insisted then to the minister and say, for the ordinary people and for comply, when I get for pay them money here, the fine, so we'll go release the motor car them. Because if you not do them, how we go expect the ordinary person? So when we enforce some power, it's clear to the ordinary person that we go enforce on them. So we problem the enforcement. And most times the breaking down of the rules and regulations, they come from the top, not from the bottom. Because the ordinary people are easy to see, you know. But the problem, we have to be very, very much concerned about that enforcement. So the minister, the chief minister, everything is safe, fine. But the question is, how do we go about it? It seems to me it has to come from the top all the way down, not to for allow the ordinary people there. Because people, by human beings by their nature, were made to break laws. The only reason why a lot of us comply, that because of the penalty we will pay if we are caught breaking the law. You see, this is not the main thing that one day. So now, though the people that what the thing say is so impossible, even with their friend from Maryland, say, see how that can be done. It can be done. They are experts. They are traffic experts. They are city planners, we go reconstruct things for we in a way we're not going to believe. People have expertise in a lot of stuff. If we are not able to improve the system, it's not because it is impossible to do, it's because we don't want to hire the right people can help for solve the problem. I mean, Lagos, Nigeria, once upon a time, Lagos get about 25 million people. 25 million people. I think even more now. I think Lagos were like the fourth populous city in the world. But when they get a governor who decided to take care of Lagos traffic and everything was improved. We talk about millions and millions. Sierra Leone will get Freetown get 1.5 million people. We think so we'll get a lot of people. What about Lagos that had 25 million? They were able to do something about it. So they hired the right experts from abroad, because we're not getting any such expertise in our own country. But we are mistake we will make. We're not going to hire people like the Victor Mengot. We're going to hire a lawyer, a doctor, a professor, we get PhD, we get this, we get that, put them in a committee, on the board for come up with ideas, none of which they are qualified to come up with. This not that the kill way. We not look for the appropriate people and for help with for improve the system. But there are many talented people in the world. They could make Freetown look like paradise. Okay,
Mr. Shillon, I keep the best for last. Right?
All right.
First of all, my friend, our friend Atotailu, because I'm also sort of using double. His comment is that, gentlemen, I've been trying to call on your WhatsApp line, but I get cut off without anyone explaining why. I want to explain further why I believe we should do things according to the realities of our situation. It's impossible to act differently. Taken, but Mr. Tailu, I would also advise you that, there's a caller on the line. Let's get that caller before we go further.
Okay. And I'm trying to get to the control room to see one.
I come from Canada.
Okay, ma'am.
So
you're welcome.
I see somebody put on the comments side about the traffic light them. I think some of the traffic light then are on the walk, but some of them they walk. But even if they walk, I noticed something like would it drive the stop signs in. Most of the drivers they not even know say them for they like the stop sign and they're supposed for team up and wait like the pedestrians and they pass or other motorists and they pass. They don't really know how to use them. I remember the person who they drive with the just pass. So I say, now stop sign will be get so. They say no, not for we. So then it will say like even if you say like the direction will be the come off from. Now the opposite person then supposed for just wait, not in. So I think say for put the traffic light or all the signs already put for put on one thing, but for educate the people, they know how to use and another thing. Otherwise, they put the thing and no more, but now time no more with the waste. And back to the laws, then back again. It seems like say everybody want to put law, but nobody know how to obey the law. not to just the common person on the street, even though, the ministers there, anytime they're on a KPCDN laws, they're not applied to them, then where they, the way they impose, they implement the way they sit down and make the rules them, they're not one for be the one way for abide by the rules. So the one the way they implement them also they break the rules. Then the one the back way they make the law, everybody in the same, casada soup no more. So every time we sit down, we talk, but nothing not get for happen. Maybe they're supposed for they go like community to community, like sometimes then they just for talk to people on the grassroots. Then we all know for say some of them so would they do enough for we self, not for other person where accidentally. I like you carry this person go to police, all their fancy talk, okay, fine. Some people then they Okada guys, so not even get self money for it. The Okada way they drive, not to you. Maybe in bosses self, the person where they drive for now, another person I help and get another Okada. When you look the kind person where you don't go bank, so then the people that will get for feed self. Now but people there. So nothing not get for common inside because you are like you look at it for a long time, you not get nothing for even take care of that person. So really go find for law we sorry for we self, not to just for put the law them, but let we educate to drivers them, let we educate the pedestrians, they have for cross the roads them, because then another one thing again, where like you don't know the traffic, how you for cross, how like say check post for you left and turn to right and turn back to left before you cross. So if all they have thing and they happen, then the resources now what will they put? Maybe go small, go too far, but now baby steps. Now that's not my mistake like all for contribute. Now thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. Yeah. I just
think
want to
there's still
remind
another
people.
caller before.
Okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where's you call from?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
All right.
Yeah. Now Abdul give me a call. Yeah. I just want
Yes.
to continue where I left from. I want make no suggestions. So when I always know see me always make these suggestions. But before I come to the suggestion, I just one somebody we text with message say I they be too political. No, it's not a political. I know say for the past 28 years, 25 to 30 years, we don't get government public transportation in our cities than the owner. That's a fact. So I not just pigeonhole them to this government per se. For the past
I took care of that, but go ahead.
Yeah. One suggestion when me go give is then for fast track the setting up of them traffic lights here. Just like what the previous caller say, and traffic signs. If you apply Waterloo to McKinney or Waterloo to Bowood, they see traffic signs and say for slow down, you get speed bumps and you are mixing a COVID, you can't meet so you for slow down. Then things and they need for this. So the roads authority they need for then because when they don't put you aside, you can make a difference in the life of people. You apply that we say from Waterloo for go Bo or Waterloo for go McKinney. You don't see none of them thing and they do. None of them sign and they for alert drivers and say you just for slow down, you can't meet a curve on a hill, you can't meet so that they're able for caution. Then the breakdown the way they've been at that highway day. Them triangle signed it for show say yes, there is a breakdown, vehicle down there. Therefore enforce them. That's one another very good thing for them for enforce. Then with regards to the public transportation, the president is really need for expedite this. It really need for speed up this. Because you get cities like Dakar, Abidjan, you get public transportation the way they run it. Because the reason why make them always they at the neck of they're just like what you say, Mr. Shilo, at the neck of them private vehicle owners there. And because government don't get their own. Because when government get their own, government has social service then they offer. Una cut on your own price half. You go see if them so-called Poda drivers and they're going to go halfway. They're not going to go halfway because they know say una get that's why they forget money. So they're able to try for meet.
They get for compete with the government boss.
You see, so now something like that. Then with regards to the minister, una member say una me out a program some time ago when then they ask for when I mentioned, but the role of diaspora as far as development in Sierra Leone. Mr. Mengo mentioned, say we forget a database of Sierra Leonean experts in the diaspora. When that will be a very good database when governments want you need experts for the various fields, whether science, whether economics, whether engineering, whether technology. You just go to the database, the Sierra Leoneans, they just tap them, say, okay, we don't see them people here for this various, so let me tap them with the expertise. Instead of when they can't take non-Sierra Leoneans, pay them more than waiting to pay a Sierra Leonean. So these are some of the things that the government was set up. If we really want, because someone one country one go, but it's because there are stumbling blocks. Some you're not able to access the powers that be. So, but that database day of reputable Sierra Leoneans, experts, them you're able to tap them. You wanna go use the ambassadors, the high commissioners, the old boys, old girls translation, and then various countries, Europe, Asia, wherever. When I get a database, then they're able to tap the expertise of them people and for them will make a meaningful contribution. Even if some of them not go na the ground, they can then still offer good service for making the country go before. So I just say for make this small interjection. I'll stop so far.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. We get one more call again before I give. People in Angola share the good news.
Yes.
Share the good news.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening. Will you do well?
Yeah. All right. On our program and the topic is fine for listening to, but now ask yourself, who get system in the country? We not get system in the country because some of people we're not fortunate from some of them facilitated, but we see some of the cackers the way we left that street then. Now for even see the remains and it was normal. Not until of late where honestly one time again we begin see them begin to install it in there. Now ask yourself, who are they control the system in there? How do they generate the income from? Not to for life and people fix anything in there as a monument, then they generate anything from it. Because me myself, I drove through those things and I don't see nothing where I don't see how fine they come from them. So you tell me how you for generate income. Or you just go fix that there for gain waiting. For gain vote or waiting. Say you fix
for public safety.
We need that and just there for life and we always do something where they benefit the country. And even we elect power, they go left the daily. Then they will just do things there. Especially where they 5 or more years in Kingdom done, and then tell you that you want to force people go fix things they will not cost for. Then at the end, it's they know the work. And they know they finish now. Look, this other government will come, then put that overhead, wait to say. At the end, I just feel part now for it on them put and the major side and then for it on way crowd the way they're not they put them. Yes, I know they try for cry them down, say they do wrong, but then they're more necessary at all. Because people do not know the rule of the zebra crossing. So if that's in there, they help a lot for reduce accidents and stuff. But to be honest with government, then they don't want to know all they care about now for county and go. No system, no day. And so again, that maintenance culture in your law, we just forget about that. Totally, look at the current rules then. Where they pass well now. For example, during anesthesia time and after anesthesia, they then what and they. In fact, now the thing they become worse. Now only God and and blessing will make you drive through that road, they to and fro and come back safely. But it really hard for them to survive it. If you are lucky, you are safe, then your car will get problem. Or the tires will get problem. Then leader there, they really know they do well. For that country, they're not good for the country. To be honest with anybody. Me, I always get problem with the two parties. I'm not here to cry just one party. Both parties are not doing well for the nation. When I say leadership, example now from you and your family, the example for start from. Then count down was look like the example when the other caller really try for make. How the government officials they commit crime, they go free, then the layman and they go suffer. Now in we don't happen from time memorial. They will just make no more than look call and say call from the above. Who is the above? Is yet or no. The two sad we system in that country they no. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now I think first of all, let me say thank you. Let me say,
Go ahead.
Is the caller still there or is gone? Okay. First of all, let me say thank you to all our callers them. Right? And also, there's one more caller on the line, and this is not the last hour they take. Unless we go get for do a follow-up on this program. So let's take the caller. Not to we voice no more than for Yegi.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
What's your name? Tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Shilon. This is Ahmed at the call from UK.
All right. Thank you, Ahmed.
Yeah. Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mengot. As always, being a regular listener, and appreciate you very much for coming. And each time when I come, they highlight certain things the way they go on in the country, and then at least some of who they learn. You see, it's not about party politics or color. If only people they follow what they say, even the way they lead, they're able to listen to now. Some of their regulations here, some of them suggestions they bring come and then work with them. Believe in me, the country go fine. Because no day, but what they do more than what one day they say. Because the issues that they are lied to. You see, this again, education they give free to them. But are they looking into it? Because everything is politics. Then she don't they now want to talk so now, they're fishing a job when I want. And some of them are very capable of what they do so. Very much capable. The question Mr. Mengos they do, at least you don't go now the Sunday, you don't engage with the traffic, at least the road transport. I think now this time, now the kind of people they want to call patriotism. Because you go back, forgive back. What you do so, Mr. Shilo, you analyze the law affairs. People really know the law. When they look at critical issues then, how they for punish people, the young people then. What are they learning? No. It's not the problem to the way we get. What we do, we can't say, from shaking them, from my guy them, the same thing. No. We don't go before again. We say my guy stop them. I didn't want to, I didn't want to change things. And then people can't say, they can't get a new direction. Look how many buses people have been saying they get about 200 buses. Where are the buses? There was a time somebody video buses and they say they all don't scrap. Then they life and people them look see those small countries. We will be young. Actually, even to say it, even in the 90s, we still get transport them, private transport in American and cargo. We will live at the east, we will be go school and they get them bus and the American bus, private they help them and at least they run, they do their business. Encourage private business people if the government cannot take this entity there. But then they make road. This government will can also where unless be then by them. We know they talk, but they say okay, make roads there and stuff. They say not to road all they use cosmetic roads and roads. But who say stop now? Then come they continue making the roads? No. At least if na cosmetic roads and they make, also this one in UK, everyday roads are maintenance. They make road for donkey years and they say they left and now they don't make the road. No. Every day they block traffic, every patrol, that's why they make consistently. We know we're not making now so for the abadan. No, for this one now fix, not for point again. So them people have come, Even the transport system. How now develop agriculture? How now feed the people? What do you feed the roads yourself? They know most the good. Tell me, which agriculture they take predominantly farming? Is it not in the rural areas? Is it not in the remote villages? Where are the feeder roads? Instead, we say Mama Komo just recently, just after Masheka, they say na Chinese man and they do sign minding. They don't even point the road with them dumper, then trailer them. They get one farm which and they know they do planting. I don't know who that give them the place that the chief or the government are where because on a remote side. They get dumper the way they do the sign man. Government, all the things they challenge for them, condemn all the challenge. Now they go alongside, nobody will question them. The country is like no leadership. How come foreign apostles they do what they do? Nobody they check them. The common people they know the benefits in the rural areas. So me, I must see them people there. What they say they would do all of them to feed the people with transportation in the line, we don't get on the buses, no bus, even within the city. You know, instead them buy when I expertise, they watch they talk, but when they listen to una, then they go. Then they bring politics. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashidon and Mr. Mengo. Thank you once again for the great contribution they do. When I continue to do talk, at least not render on our service. We will listen now. You see, sometimes generation will go change, you go follow to the talk show. Even on what they again, our legacy will be. Some of people go talk. We will continue for propagating our message there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is a very interesting topic. I get 15 minutes more for tell people what is happening in the system. And also we are waiting the minister. The minister say he want coordination. The good news, tell me callers them, I am directly involved in trying to improve public transport in Sierra Leone. I've never given up. I always say, I start first, I work with the police on a voluntary basis. Right? I served 4 different traffic officers, traffic director, and I'm still there with them. Right? I also get involved in the government program where they call Integrated Resilient Urban Mobility Transport. And for putting in context, let's tell people them the institutions that were involved. What we need na collaboration and coordination. When it comes to transport, first, we get the Road Maintenance Fund Administration. Road Maintenance Fund Administration, they under the Ministry of Works and Public Assets. Now they want then they gather the money maintenance. And how then they get that money? Then they get them through fuel levy. That for every liter of fuel we buy, certain percentage to go for road maintenance. Also, them fees them way in they pay for get driver license, vehicle license. Some of them they go to that maintenance fund. But it's under different ministry. Then you get the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority. When they get everything for do with road safety. Then they're under the Ministry of Transport and Aviation. Then you get the Sierra Leone Roads Authority. Then they also under the Ministry of Works and Public Assets. Now then at the technical, now then get the engineers the way they design the standards then for the road. Then you get Sierra Leone Police. When are they responsible for law enforcement? And then the Freetown City Council. So, this I-1 project where they talk about, it's still in existence. We don't do a lot of things for improved public transport. Because the first thing where I think say, the government go come back, we don't get a new minister then. The new minister, for like come, he tell we what he want to do. First of all, the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation when they form Road Transport Corporation, it been get 3 important role. One, now for provide public transport. Now make sure they get government, then they provide that transport. The second role, now for regulate public transport. Then the third role, now for advise. That was in 1964. Now that makes Obinga Road Transport Corporation. But then, fast forward, we can get another agency called Sierra Leone Road Transport Authority, which that was under President Kaba. Right? So that Road Transport Authority, the inside can get the same responsibility. Now, what the government don't do? The government decides, say, with the support of World Bank, say, government not going to run transport, then they regulate transport. So you're not going to be referee and player together. So before the last parliament go off, we've been set up a law where establish the Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority as the regulator. So government are regulate no more than they regulate. And then therefore set up all the standards. So everything in the private sector. So then bosses, the way they talk, say government say then they bring 200 buses. Yes. We get a major transport corridor now the Freetown municipality. Where from east now Usai you get a lot of traffic. The western side now from number 2 river to Lumley to Central Bus Station. Then the eastern are from Central Bus Station to reach Calbatom Dewey. That route there, make assure my fellow Sierra Leoneans say, within the next 3 months or before the end of the year, government we will see 50 high capacity bus then. Where what I mean by high capacity, then bus then they take 70 people then. And a modern buses them. But it will be run by the private sector. I see somebody comment say, for invest in transport, na salon and losses. Yes. Now because we not get the systems there in place. But not for provide the buses no more. Agree with other people the way they talk. Traffic management is very important. Traffic light, very important. We don't do the study. We do a study, which I was involved with, for look at traffic signalization from Lumley to reach Calbatom. We identify 29 priority junctions there. Of course, we get financial challenges. But I think say there's a way for ladies government implement that. We can raise money through that. Again, an example. When you take traffic fines, like in the country, the amount of money where it generates, it can be self-financing. But that's a scheme for another day. So we therefore look at these how then they collaborate, the chain of command, the lines of communication, and also simple things that they talk about. Road signs, road markings. Then get for day. Public education. We've been get a program called For Wheel and to Foot. Now, if we want to do that program there, we go start with 2 wheel, 3 wheel, 1 foot, 2 foot, 4 wheel, and 6 wheel. Let we go on public education. We all get a lot for do. I'm very much involved. And I think this topic is very much one way Sierra Leoneans are interested in. But we go do a follow-up. And I feel with time, we will come back and we will show how the government, they work together with the private sector for improved public transport. The 200 buses where government say, yes, they still have plans, but we dey get 50 buses them which are already paid for.
By
So then bus and
by paid for by whom?
Paid through a grant from the World Bank.
Okay.
And these buses are manufactured to specification from India, Ashok Leyland. There's a delay in the program. Yes, because we plan for get a new terminal at Lumley. We're under the behind schedule, but they go put it out. We plan for get a new market. We plan for get a new depot. As I talk to you now, I think say then they try for will they put bus stops them on the road because one gets scheduled bus So let me read one comment. Some Sierra Leoneans will try hard to kill any project or program put up by the government as long as they don't like that government. Like this last caller, he's saying the Feed Sierra Leone is not going to work even when it has not started and is not doing anything to make it work. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, sir. But I would not comment on the Feed Sierra Leone project. I will comment on the transport project. And let me make it clear. This transport project started in 2016, 2017, and it's a continuation. And I know say the government not putting a lot of effort into it, despite all the teething problem. What we need is the collective support of all Sierra Leoneans as individual. Making telling her, say there's a lot of possibility of investment in the transport industry. I go urging her for go now we viewers page for people that we want to know more about how they can invest in the transport sector. In a left in a message, in a name, and WhatsApp number, I will get in touch with you now. But I think say this is a subject we will come back to. And at this point, all I go assure me, fellow Sierra Leoneans, and say, we are addressing the problem. When I mean we, I mean the government. We're talking about the transport providers and some of the institutions, them, including the institution where I belong to in Sierra Leone, when at the Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers. I go left am for now. And I go want to let me colleague comment on some of the stuff. If you want to ask any question for clarification, before I will give me final remarks. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, somebody comment just now say about blame game. Sometimes some of them comments here, we don't know how to read them, what in the person means, so we don't want to misinterpret. But we will hope people will understand that this is not a blame game. We are way past blame game. We are talking about instances. Let me see. Haja Bakowa of yes, that's factual. Say in Sierra Leone, we've used to blame game instead of promoting our country. But how do we promote our country? We just want to promote our country where there is nothing positive to promote. So I don't know where this person is coming from. This is not a blame game. There are a lot of things that we are missing. I think sometimes some of the problem is I don't think we wish our country well. We are way behind, even other African countries. We keep reminding people Sierra Leone was once upon a time the leading country in every aspect of civil development. Now we will be the model for everything. First airline, first railroad, first bus system, first radio station. We were the shining city on the hill. This is not a blame game. We've lost grounds. For some of us, we don't want to understand. Get out of our mind this party thing. I think sometimes people cannot take it in because they are stuck with this political party, APC, SAPP, which some of us have said they have 62 years or more of track record. The two parties would run the country. And we find ourselves way behind. But some of us we're not able to rise above this partisanship. We think, say, when you blame one party, first of all, these two parties are the same. The membership consists of, there is a lot of APC people who are once SAPP. There are a lot of SAPP who are once APC. But from us, when I will see virtue in this partisanship, God bless una. But they way ahead of una. We want Sierra Leone to be like the shining city on the hill as it once was. So we're not they talk about who not be there before. We don't there before. Okay? Now for just trying to go back for achieve the things they will be achieve. We don't lost so much. So this is what we're talking about. This is not a blame game. For anybody who think in terms of that, rise above this party issue. APC and SFPP have not done that much for Sierra Leone. This is a reality you people have to accept. These two parties are just one and the same. They are two sides of the same coin. You see, no matter which side it turns, the value is the same. The sooner we begin to understand that, the better. There is so much what we for do. So we will appreciate, instead of people saying with them and blame game, come up with ideas. The area where you command as Sierra Leone, is everything okay there? It's all right? If so, let we know. But that wonderful development in that area where you command as Sierra Leone, that people are fine, health system is great, roads and streets are great, water is good, electricity is fine. Call we and tell we so we will publicize that. For say, Usami Command Sierra Leone, the chiefdom, the district where I come out, we don't lose sight of the fact that we are one of the best in the world. Call us. But now begin to accuse people, and because that's cheap shot, because that's not doing us any good, it's not doing the country any good, because we know what we're talking about. We are just too far behind. And we are trying to come up with an idea. Mr. Mengot here is a traffic expert. It is trying best for let we get efficient transportation system in the country. So we want ideas, not to people where they see politics in everything, because we don't put aside politics. We don't say the two parties, we not get much regard for the two parties them. Like me, let me speak for me, I don't speak for Mr. Mengot. Because the history, the record is there. The two parties have done a terrible job, in all these years. But if when I see some development, I don't want to repeat myself. But let me just say one thing quick, Mr. Mengot. One thing I find fascinating, that this with extraordinary ability, I wish we can use with resourcefulness, with creativity, in a better way. We are good at coming up with names, like Sierra Leone Integrated Resilience Urban Mobility Project. What an impressive intellectual thing for put together. But what does it mean? Sierra Leone Integrated Resilience Urban Mobility Project. Isn't it the same thing as what we get the Road Transport Corporation? Then we come up with Road Safety Authority. Then we come up with Roads Authority, Roads Authority. Then we come up with Road Transport Authority. This just can make me hear that. Why all these changes? We get PWD. We abolish them, we come up with different names, this and that. No progress, we not see any difference. American man say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why do we keep just changing and changing and changing? We not see progress, instead we go backwards. These are some of the things I don't understand. They need to leave these names alone, unless they are really necessary to be changed. Road Transport Authority was perfect. Public Works Department, what we call PWD, was perfect. SAPMB was perfect. Forest Industry was perfect. Nothing wrong with those names, but we change them. Nothing to show for them. All them changes here, we're getting worse. Like I say, even in Bo, forget about Freetown. When I was in school in Bo in the 60s, Bo get road transport buses. Will be to serve the city. When we go Bo in 1960, there were no buses. Then road transport expand to Bo. Then begin for produce and bring bus to we. Nabode for public service. These are the kinds of things we want to see progress. Not to things the way they'll go, we'll not get them anymore. It's costing people more and more and more. We have to think about the ordinary person. That's why I'm talking about city train. It's not beyond we forget train for serve the western area. It's not. Don't forget about the national train. So there are a lot of things, but people need to be open-minded. And Sierra Leone is not going to solve its own problem. We, the people, Now we go solve them. Now people and the solve problem. The country is not capable of itself. The country is just a thing. It can't solve itself now in problems. Then we the cause the problem that we get for solving. If we not talk about the problems, we can't solve them. So we need for exchange ideas. We need for agree and disagree. But at the end of it, we don't see other countries now how well they do. That's all we're advocating. That we can do more for we people, particularly in the villages, now the interior. Instead of for brothers or politicians and they sell the country, let us begin for pointing things out. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Shillon. Just to respond to one of our people from Facebook, because I look at the Facebook comments here alongside what is from Jatu Mamawa Sharif. He said, is the coming of these buses have led to clearing of the major streets of Freetown? If yes, let me know. Yes. Okay. Just for answer your question, for finish, we get what you call a bus priority corridor. And I go make sure say I explain to you now who sign that bus priority corridor day. We get the Western corridor where now from Lumley, phase 1, till reach the central bus station. Right? So you talk about Lumley, Wilkinson Road, Congo Cross, Sanders Street, Shaka Stevens Street, Gloucester Street, Central Bus Station. Then you get the Eastern Corridor, where now from Central Bus Station, Wilberforce Street, that's why we're looking after Sania Bacha Street, Kisi Road, Baibure Road, Kisi Shell, Terich, Kalbatong, Jue. So that remain. So the reason that route, that particular route, now you get the high occupancy bus system, when a 70 passenger capacity. And for let it fully operational, we need 180 buses. That is why that figure of 200 been come. But we're going to start phase 1 with 50 buses and work towards that and increase the capacity. So we get other routes there, we go be feeder routes them to that main routes and day. So me can say, at this stage, I don't do in transport for 46 years. Starting as air traffic control. And I've been telling you, say, the 3 years why they control tower na Lunge, plane no one they crash. So I started from the high end. I don't come England, I don't work here, I don't work in Africa. I'm giving something back to the country. I want, like, waiting one famous leader been say. I'm not asking what Sierra Leone can do for me. Because Sierra Leone cannot do anything for me at this moment. But I'm doing what I can for Sierra Leone. And I do them without any party color, without expecting much reward financially or glorification. Because at the end, I want to I don't go, then they say, na Mr. Mengots, then me like that legacy day. So with that, it's all not doom and gloom. I know I should say not to all my go convince they would do well. But as I can say, this is a topic we'll go revisit. Let's get in our comments. Now we Facebook page, we Instagram, we network, and also in our suggest things the way in a while we'll discuss. We won't let we get participation. We get this chief minister, a younger man to me, he's like a son. We talk about radical inclusion. But not for letting they use them big word here no more. Radical inclusion. Let radical inclusion meet radical inclusion. We get one we call our we talk about something I've been suggest before, which forgets a database of professional Sierra Leoneans all over the world. With professional Sierra Leoneans in Sierra Leone. I'm not in Sierra Leone, but I'm registered with the Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers. But anyway, it's not about me. So, thank you very much to all we callers them. We hope you enjoy this program. And I don't get much for say. As the new week they come, let in a week be productive. And me, and I'm a servant, Victor Akomengot, they say tata.
Same here. Good night, everybody.